Welcome back. Streaming again. Crazy. I almost did 4 days in a row. I almost did, and then I worked until I think it was like 9. Got home at like 10. Decided, no, I don't feel like it today. But yeah. I don't really have a topic today. Kind of just talking. Probably only for 30 minutes. Unless I see anything pop up in the chat or at all. So, yeah. Huh. It's interesting whenever you forget. I had, I, though I technically don't have a conversation that I want to talk about, or a conversation. I mean, a set idea or something to talk about. I did still have something I wanted to talk about. Um, oh, that's what it was. It is a fucking horror house, not not horror house, horror house in California that is notoriously famous for never being fully completed. Uh, right off the top of my head, I think it was like Camber Manor, McCamey. It was it was something Manor, and it's not really about it scaring you. It's more so about surviving the torturous onslaught. Even the guy running it said it is a horror survival camp. Horror, horror. Gotta learn to say that correctly again. But survival camp. If you make it through the entire allotted time, you get $20,000. You see, that's great and all, but me personally, I'm not being tortured. It's not something I'm really all about. So, basing that, my logic of I refuse to be tortured by anyone, at least willingly. um, I have a genuine concern for why the wait list was as long as it was, because I think there were more people waiting on the list to go through the horror house than the cash prize. So there were more than 20,000 people on the fucking waiting list at one point. And there was this one lady who came back to do it again. Like, and that wouldn't seem like such a big deal, but she took a 6-hour flight to come back and do it again. She didn't. She made it like maybe 4 hours the first time, and it's an interesting question. Is it more so about them wanting to get the money and test themselves, or are there just a lot of background masochists that don't get discussed? I mean, more power to them, but being beat the shit out of is just not for me. Oh, I have a new image up today. I'm gonna try to keep that consistent. No idea what it's of. Not a clue. Literally just looked up hooded figures. Um, no. I haven't seen anyone new join the Discord server, but if you do, uh, you'll notice my roles have specifically the regular person role, as I guess is the easiest way to call it. Not the server owner, mod, or whatever. It's just the regular ass person joining. I think I have it titled as Gray Ram, Not a Black Sheep. And I put it as that because I feel like if you were a person who wandered around your school in a hoodie, you didn't want to follow anyone. But and that's what sheep do, you know? I hear a lot of artists and creators and stuff talk about, be the black sheep, be different, be special, but sheep gather in herds. I'm not saying rams don't do the same thing, but a ram will beat the shit out of you if given the chance. I'm more than positive. If rams were bigger than people, we would be constantly attacked by them. I'm positive. But I've never owned a ram. I've just had a couple of experiences of my own. So I suppose I guess I don't have enough room to say all rams are not going to be bossed around and led like any other sheep. But just like Dodge, it sounds better to call it ram than sheep. Could you imagine? Dodge, Jeep, sheep. What? That would be wild. But and I have it titled Gray because you gotta choose your own way. Because to say you're a black sheep is to separate yourself entirely from society, but that's not really something you can very easily do without being literally detached from society like a sociopath. But if that's what you are, do you? I'll make you a role. Um, but yeah, it feels more like people who grew up like me, fucking around wearing hoodies, not giving a shit. were more so gray. Because, you know, if you were to cheat on somebody, that's not okay. Society deems that not okay, and I think most people deem that not okay. So I choose to look at it gray instead of black. So if you join the Discord server, the reason it says your role is a gray ram, not a black sheep, that's why. Speaking of the Discord server, I actually had a conversation with one of my past. Um, I say past, but we never stopped being friends. We kind of just fell off. You know, you don't contact that one person for years or months, almost a year, I think. But coming to find out that more than likely the reason I had so many views on the first stream is because somebody thought that they thought I was dying. They thought it was going to be that stream. It's not going to be that stream. If I'm if I'm gonna stream that, I'm gonna put I am dying. I am going to put that in big bold. I'll make sure to italicize it. No exclamation points though, because it won't be that exciting. Um, hmm. But yeah, sorry if that's what people watch that stream to see. That is, in fact, not what I'm. I do not think I'm dying. I am going bald, though. Not by choice, but I am slowly realizing that my hair is falling out more than gradually and rapidly. So, yeah, that is not gonna be any fun. Your boy might be wearing a wig. Because, I don't know. I don't feel like bald is gonna fit me. At least not yet. I wanna look strong and muscular like Andrew Tate. Before going bald. Uh, Christ. Isn't it funny what happened to Andrew Tate, though? You know, everybody, a lot of people were just like, oh God, he said this, he said that, and this, and that. And I'm like, well, I kind of agreed with this one thing he said, or multiple things he said. Don't get me wrong, I don't think you should treat women like shit and other kinds of shit. But, I do agree with some of the dating advice he gave at some points. Because what I've come to find out is, and this doesn't go with just dating, it goes with a relationship in general. The person who gives a shit less is the person who will maintain a majority of control. And I completely agree with that. I'm positive he said it differently, but I agree. Um, Growing up and having my own relationships up until really recently, I I know I cared more. It wasn't like oh I love you too. I love you more. I love you more. No, it wasn't that. I would say I love you more and that's where it would end. And if it didn't, it was a lie. I was getting fucked with. Like like Angel, I talked about it the other time. But yeah, nah. she gave less of a shit, and I for sure felt it. Uh, Speaking of which, she actually contacted me a while ago. I say a while ago, but it was like maybe a few days. And I responded to it, and then I had to sit down and think, like, why? What's happening? Because the time before that she had contacted me, um, it was because she had ended up breaking up with some dude. She didn't explicitly state that was the reason, but that was the most recent major event. That's because, she knew I would listen. That's who I was and how I was. But then I had to sit down and think, like, there's a reason she's contacting me. And I was sitting down, I was thinking, and then I talked to my dad about it, and he played devil's advocate. And I think everybody needs somebody to play devil's advocate. You really have to, you have to let a little, not to quote Lord of the, or the fucking Lord of the Rings show, but sometimes you have to let a little darkness in to show the light or something like that. The quote was very close to that. It was Galadriel's brother talking to Galadriel. But yeah. And I don't know. It's it's interesting because what he reminded me was how much she treated me like shit. And one of the last things that we had a conversation about, or I say conversation, but I just stopped talking about it, was who dumped who last. First four times, that was my ass who got dumped. Definitely. Most certainly. And then she tries to play a guilt card and say she dumped me that last time. Now, that wouldn't be important, nor would I care about it. Well, now, do I? I don't give a shit because I know what happened. I don't need validation from anyone but myself. But then, back then, I cared. I was still emotionally distraught over this one chick in another state and just had gotten. I was just fucking myself over with emotions. But, so at that time, I I heard her say that, and it pissed me off to such a high degree. And it was because I cared too much. I needed that validation, that understanding. Because I distinctly remember breaking up with her. Sorry, there was a loud car driving by my house just now, and it sounded like a siren at first, and I was like, "Oh, the world's ending. Time to go." But never mind that. I was sitting upstairs in my younger brother's room, and I was texting her or something, and I was just like, this isn't working. It's not going to work. And at the time, I also was having a crush on the girl I talked about in the last stream with my summer with COVID. She, the last time I had saw her before breaking up with Angel, she had like looked at me longingly, I guess would be the best way to say that. Like we both wanted each other, so it was like, and then I felt weird being near Angel at that point. But I ended it. She was like, okay, sure, whatever. It was probably a little more dramatic than that, but it didn't last. Like maybe she didn't fight it or anything. But I called my friends at the time. They were friends I had had all the way up through high school, specifically before COVID started, and they congratulated me because they were like, "You finally got that bitch out of your life." They were never fans of her, and I see why now. But they congratulated me, but about 20 minutes into the conversation with them, one of them is like, she just updated her story looking for someone new. Or I've got my eye on someone new. And then she proceeded to date that person. Which is fine, do whatever the hell you want, but I spent a few weeks debating it. Because Angel was the first person I had done a majority of things with. You know, first kiss, first dance, first several sexual encounters, New Year's kiss. Still the only person I've had a New Year's kiss with. It was down in an alleyway in some small fucking town. We were walking around debating on whether or not we should fuck in public. I'm so happy I did not do that. But it just goes to show she had already completely planned on dating this dude, and she was already talking to him. Come to find out, surprise, surprise, you know, where there was already fire, fire can start again if the ashes aren't put out. But yeah, and I think that's how I kind of approached the situation with Discord, old Discord friends too. Is I cared so much, but in the end, it didn't matter if I gave a shit or not. Just didn't. But there's my tidbit on how you shouldn't give a shit about certain things coming from Andrew Tate somewhere. That idea didn't spawn with Andrew Tate. It's just something I agree with. That was something I had already come to find out beforehand. Um, How much time? Okay. So not too terribly long. Um yeah, I'm gonna make a kind of a short stream today. Unless the one viewer who's still here wants to say something. But the another interesting thing Andrew Tate said that I'm not sure if I wholly agree with, but I completely understand. And it was about this German woman who's plane wrecked in the Amazon. Yeah, Amazon. South America, somewhere in that bullshit. And she was the only survivor. Her mom gets decapitated in the plane wreck. Like, she's sitting right next to her mom, and she's, like, completely been cleaved, head from body. And she survives out there for a few weeks, completely on her own. And that's a super traumatizing experience. But she gets back to Germany, and, her dad's obviously happy that she's alive, but he's like, all right, go get a job. No more spending time on this. Go get a job. And he then goes to talk about how therapy isn't needed and it's something that's only been structured and formed by society. You know, and I understand it, but I'm not sure if I completely agree with it because I think it's needed now because of how my generation was raised. Because beforehand it was get beat the shit out of and conform, and now it was progressing at that point to change the dynamic completely. The socially acceptable thing to do for years was follow your religion, respect your mother and your father. That's great. Do what you want. And now the societal norm is be gay. And yeah, I know that's some controversial shit, but if you really think about it, the things are getting pushed. Where, straight, homophobic people once stood cursing and spitting on a pride parade. Uh, there was a straight pride parade, or a heterosexual parade, and it got bad. Like, they had to bring out riot gear. Bad. And the funniest thing about it is the guy leading the heterosexual parade was gay. And he talked about how the community is not, it's not very kind. It's just not. The new movement for pride is very aggressive. And that's not me trying to be a dick or hating on gay people in general. No, I'm saying the same people who, you know, go to the fucking rallies and shit and hate on Trump supporters and glue themselves to the fucking wall after throwing potatoes and tomatoes on artwork for whatever fucking reason. They're aggressive, and it's unnecessary. And I get that aggression in the past has been very effective. Revolutionary War, totally granted. There was there was no way around it. But that's what people forget. There was no way around it. It had already been tested and cleared before the aggression started. Because the straight parade was more so of a joke. Majority of people knew that. Some went there, fully proud of being straight, and that's their own business. Nobody cares. Besides the people in that parade. Honestly, had it not gotten negative attention, I would have never heard of it. Don't get me wrong, this parade happened a couple of years back now, but it's interesting because it still carries weight. Um, but anyway, what I was talking about is how society's ideals are changing. They're completely changing. It goes beyond just being gay. It's um, kill children in the womb. And you can hate me all you want. I consider it murder, and that's my opinion. You're free to have whatever opinion you want. If there was a way to 100% confirm that it was not alive, it being the child, infant, fetus, whatever, that would be fine. It'd be like sperm. I wouldn't care. But we can confirm that the sperm is not alive. Well, technically. And it dies so quickly after being used for its designated purpose. But there hasn't been a way to confirm that. If anything, there's been more and more, at the very least, more and more information that I have been exposed to showing otherwise. What are some other things that have changed? Oh yeah, it's cool to be weird. Being goth, emo, big rocker fan. Don't get me wrong, I'm down for it. Do you. Having tattoos, it's fucking awesome. But it wasn't always. Paganism. Paganism is cool again. Think about that. Dark Ages. You would be murdered on the street if you did not. Like, you would literally be beaten to death with stones by your neighbors had somebody found out you praised anything but God. Especially Salem. Especially Salem. Imagine Reverend trips near you. That was it. Your life was over at that point. But now it's cool to be pagan. Now it's cool to worship Satan. Now it's cool to be a witch. And that's your own business. do whatever you will, as long as it doesn't affect anyone else in a negative way. And now the bad thing to do is to be a Christian. And following those guidelines, coming back to my long and winded point, it wasn't normal to go to therapy then, but it is now. Because society changed. So did the way you raised your kids. It changed. It's changed before and it will change again. And now that I've hated on, well, quote unquote, hated on other groups and affiliations, even Christians will tell you everybody was fucking horrible at one point. Sodom and Gomorrah. Most Christians are not considered the people of God. And now they are, but they're still not, technically. The Jews are supposed to be God's people. Christians are kind of just like, yeah, we'll let you in. It's a wild statement. Especially considering Jewish people do not consider Jesus to be Jesus. Their own prophecy and religion completely, back. They don't believe in it. And their reason is uh, it was Mary who was of David's bloodline. I think I'm remembering this correctly. If I'm not, then, someone will tell me. Also, yeah, funny thing, I found out God, it doesn't give a shit what gender you are. It's never explicitly stated because, it's not God writing the Bible a majority of the time, it's man writing the Bible. But Jewish custom basically believed that Jesus was not supposed to be Jesus unless his father was of David's bloodline. But that wouldn't work considering Mary would have to be a virgin. I don't know. That's something interesting. It really shows you that shit changes. I mean, Spartans, I, again, with shit changing, Spartans were gay. A lot of them were. 300, probably about 150 of them were fucking. Let's be straight. They would have the women shave their head bald because they felt more comfortable around men. Which is fine, Do whatever the fuck you want, I guess. It's fucking ancient Greece. But shit shit changes. The only thing that doesn't is war. Definitely gonna quote Fallout 4 here. War never changes. It just evolves. Which is sort of change, but not really. If a tiger evolves to have stripes on its back, It's still a tiger. It's just got a couple different colors on it. And war is just, when you really think about it, just one man said, "Boulder, go hurt." No, really, it started with somebody's fist. And if you want to go by Bible chronology, can I don't know. It started with somebody's hand. Somebody hit somebody, and then somebody realized I can't hit as hard. Or maybe they didn't realize at all. They just picked up a stone one day, or they were using a stone one day, and they hit the other guy with it, and it worked so much better. And he was like, "Oh shit, that knocked him the fuck out in one go. I can't do that with my hand, and my hand doesn't hurt." And then somebody added a stick to make the fucking stone hit harder. Then somebody made that stick go through the air. Then somebody stopped doing sticks and stones and did metal and wood. Not like, not sticks, but fucking handles and shit. And then that metal advanced, and then they decided, what if we just remove the stick entirely and just shoot the metal? And then the metal got bigger. And then the metal started to have fire properties. And then it started to explode. And now we're just making bigger explosions. So, yeah, besides war, shit changes. It's still considered honorable to go die and fight for your country, I think. I've heard some people be like, "Oh yeah, no, that's not honorable to go die and fight for your country," and I'm like, well, nobody does it, then you guys don't get to have an opinion for much longer. But what do I know? I'm a such and such age person sitting in my room with a astronaut light that shoots a projection of stars and a galaxy up into my room. What do I know? And yeah, that's it. I went a little bit farther than I said I was going to, but yeah, that's all I'm going to talk about for tonight, at least. If the now two people have anything they would like to ask or say, um, now would be the time to ask or say. Also, I'm realizing if you're watching this from the start, when you join, um, I I don't know what to tell you. I'm not gonna have the thing open whenever you finally catch up to ask questions because you just won't catch up. That unfortunately time doesn't work that way. But yeah, feel free if you have questions to leave them. And again, if you're a fellow creator or you just want to be on the podcast at some point or just talk to me, that's fucking fantastic. Let's do it. Just hit me up somewhere. Got a YouTube, got an Instagram. I don't know if the link is up for it yet because it's been glitching out. And I've got Discord. Discord will most certainly be the easiest way to reach me. I might put up my email at some point. You know, just to keep things old. But yeah, I'll wait about 5 minutes. If the two of you leave within that time, I'll end the stream. Okay, well, if you leave, if you there, the last one, if you leave, I'll end the stream. But I'll give you 5 minutes to catch up. Starting about a minute ago. And if you don't catch up by then, pop in and ask a question immediately. Oh. So I'll give you 5. Sort of. Hmm. I wish I could remember who majority of these people are. Because I straight up don't remember their names. Just looking through viewers right now. Alright. That will be the end of it then. Have a good night, and as always, I don't know, try not to kill yourself. That would be helpful to everybody, really. It's not fun to deal with at all, or to hear about, or to think about, really. It's just not a fun process. Anyway, have a good night. Sleep well. If it's not nighttime for you, then I'm sorry. The fucking mornings are rough. And I'm surprised you're listening to me. Have a good one.